Okay, this is the Energies of God, part four. It's a little summary, a little wrap up from the article that I read because I didn't have a chance to wrap it up with the third video. But when it comes to the Energies of God, obviously it's kind of hard to explain in three short videos. But I feel like the article did a good job. It was nice and simple. It was nice and easy. It gave a lot of good material as to what the Orthodox mindset is, as opposed to the West. The West has a very incomplete theology, theological framework. They don't give up the fact that they don't know. We do. We concede that as Orthodox Christians that we don't know God. Um, and I know that may be a hard thing to explain, but not knowing God, and using that metaphor that it was previously used, knowing what the sun is, obviously, we have knowledge of the sun that it exists, but we would never be able to handle its energy, obviously, because it would, burn us alive. Um, and it's one of those things where it's kind of the same thing when it comes to God. God has uncreated energies and a divine essence. Both are separate. And like we say, in one essence with the Father. So that explains the Trinity, the three in one concept. Essence is is different from God's uncreated energies. So that's why it's important to make the distinction on the energies of God. Now, to limit it to 4 videos, I mean that is something that is limited. So the energy that I put into these 4 videos is limited by me. I don't have the ability to do more. Well, I can have the ability to do more. I might. But when it comes to the energies of God, that's uncreated. It's infinite. God is outside of time. So if God exists outside of time and is infinite, we can't explain it, then worrying about explaining it, that will get caught up, and then we'll be deduced down to the Western ways of thinking and our very limited perspectives on what God should be. And this is one of the bigger motivations to be an Orthodox Christian, because it's one of those things where you make that distinction with the uncreated energies, and those uncreated energies are always in a hypostasis and always in motion and not in motion. So it's one of those things where you see it and you feel it in something like the Eucharist. And that gathering, well, the Eucharist, the gathering around it is called the Divine Liturgy. And the uncreated energies of God come down and bless the bread and the wine and turn the bread and the wine into his one and only, into obviously what Jesus did. Um, and those uncreated energies turn into the body and blood of Christ. And Christ is our God. So, in one essence with the Father. And if you notice in Christian churches, mainly Orthodox and Catholic churches, should be icons of Christ. Protestants don't really do that. But when the icons are there, it's a window into heaven. And that's the energy you're receiving, and in communion with that icon. You're venerating the icon by kissing it, praying in front of it, asking for that certain saint. Let's take, for instance, a recent one, Saint Nectarios. He is, he's a saint where people go to ask for prayers for, either they have cancer or, unfortunately, loved ones have cancer. So, they go to pray to him, to intercede with him, to venerate him. That's him, giving his prayers and his energies. Not that he, as a saint in heaven, to work through God to help, those in need. So that's just an example of like intercession and veneration. We're not worshiping, we're praying to a saint, which is pretty crucial. And with the energies of God, to wrap it up with the article, it is one of those things where these energies obviously define a part of God. The essence defines a part of God, and it also defines a part of the Trinity. However, the revealed theology of Jesus Christ is what makes revealed God to us. So that way we come to know God and we can understand him. So that way he works through us as he works through his saints in heaven. And that uncreated energy with the liturgy also works through the revealed theology in Christ. So then that way we can come to know God and have a communion with him because of him unifying flesh and blood with Christ, with the divine essence, full on both. That way we could come to know God's, essence. So with that is what distinguishes a lot of our theology and our understandings of it from the West, and what a lot of the West forgot or left behind when it comes to explaining the Trinity, the essence, and the energies of God.